No, 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 no! Oh God.
Following a massive missile strike by Iran on Israel, the United States military went on full combat alert. All branches, including the Air Force and Marine Corps, received immediate orders. Fighter squadrons were instructed to prepare for combat readiness without delay. The operation began moving all units simultaneously. Marines were bussed from their barracks to the airfield. Once there, they started boarding a C-17 Globemaster III, its rear ramp already lowered and waiting. At the same time, cargo handlers moved equipment using forklifts and flatbed carts, generators, ammunition crates, medical kits, and communication gear. All gear was secured inside the cargo bay alongside the Marines. The aircraft had a scheduled stop at another base to collect more troops and equipment before flying fully loaded to the Middle East. Nearby, additional C-17s were being loaded. Armored vehicles, tactical buggies, MRAPs, and other combat trucks were driven up the ramps. At another airfield, fighter jets were being prepped for upcoming strikes on enemy positions. Every plane underwent thorough inspections, avionics checked, radar systems tested, wiring reviewed panel by panel. Missiles and guided bombs were secured on pylons, engine covers removed, intakes inspected, and fuel systems verified. These jets needed to be flawless for continuous combat missions over the following days. Meanwhile, at another section of the base, soldiers sorted through their personal gear. Duffel bags and rucksacks were packed with everything needed for an indefinite deployment. Uniforms, boots, hygiene kits, and personal essentials were all prepared. This was not a short rotation, the troops were headed to a base in the Middle East for an unspecified duration, with no set return date. As dusk fell, the order came to board.
I think usually we cut it.
Soldiers formed columns outside the hangar and marched toward their designated aircraft. They climbed the ramps and took their seats inside the C-17s. Heat. Intense heat. Load masters performed final cargo checks and head counts. Ramps closed, and one by one, the planes taxied and took off, disappearing into the darkening horizon. The sweltering heat greeted them upon landing in the Middle East. C-17s touched down, and unloading began immediately. Ramps dropped, soldiers disembarked, and vehicles were driven off after being unchained. Cargo pallets were removed by forklifts at a rapid pace. The aircraft would soon return from multiple trips, bringing more soldiers from other U.S. bases. Heat. Relentless heat. For the troops stepping onto the tarmac, this Middle Eastern base had become their temporary home for the operation's duration. There was no set schedule or return date. They gathered their gear and followed base personnel to their assigned quarters. The build-up was in full swing, with more flights already on approach. Maintenance crews worked non-stop, preparing fighters for upcoming sorties. Aircraft sat in rows, some exposed to the open sky, others in hardened shelters. Fuel trucks arrived alongside each plane. Mechanics connected refueling nozzles and filled the tanks with JP-8 kerosene, monitoring the flow until full. Weapons teams mounted missiles and guided bombs on each aircraft. Connections to the plane's electronics were verified, arming pins inserted, and red flags left in place until the jets were ready to taxi. Each weapon underwent a visual inspection, checking mounting points, release mechanisms, and alignment. This process was repeated for every fighter. By the time pilots arrived for briefing, each jet was fueled, armed, inspected, and cleared for combat.